Hello and welcome. You're watching Nightline with me, Adrian Seat. News making the headlines. Senior police officer who rammed a car into schoolboy will be charged for murder. And ASEAN-Japan can play a role in finding solution to Palestine-Israel conflict, says PM. Thanks for joining us. A senior police officer will be charged for murder on Monday over a hit-and-run accident that caused the death of a schoolboy in Ipoh last Friday. The Attorney General's chambers said that there was enough evidence to tentatively charge the suspect under the Penal Code for murder based on the investigations carried out and the statements recorded. The 44-year-old suspect will be charged at the Magistrates Court in Ipoh. After the man is tentatively charged, a date will be set for his trial by the High Court in Ipoh. The AGC statement comes a day after Perak Police Chief Dato Sri Yusri Hassan Basri said police would expedite their investigations to facilitate a prosecution. The suspect was arrested on Friday, hours after a hit-and-run accident that killed 17-year-old Muhammad Zaharif Effendi Zamri. It was previously reported that a car had rammed into Zaharif's motorcycle after a 1-kilometer chase, causing him to fall off and be dragged for nearly 5 meters. The schoolboy, an SPM student at SMK Jati, died of injuries to the chest and abdomen, while the 44-year-old car driver was not hurt. Earlier today, Zaharif's father, Zamri Zainal Abidin, age 55, said the family has appointed a lawyer in order to ensure that the investigation is transparent and that there are no cover-ups. Zaharif's brother, Zarul Fitri, age 29, and sister, Noor Zawani, age 28, appealed to witnesses and those with video recordings of the incident to assist in the investigation. Dato Sri Anwar Ibrahim has reiterated Malaysia's stance on the war in Gaza and has once again condemned Israel's atrocities against Palestinians at the ASEAN-Japan Commemorative Summit held in Tokyo. The Prime Minister said Malaysia will never cease to voice the humanitarian crisis in Gaza and highlighted that ASEAN and Japan can play a crucial role within the global community towards resolving the Palestine-Israel conflict. Anwar noted that all ASEAN member states and Japan had voted in favour of the United Nations General Assembly resolution on December the 12th that demanded a ceasefire, as well as ensuring humanitarian access and the release of hostages. Moving forward, he said that the ASEAN nations and Japan should work together towards having these demands realised and called for stronger commitment towards upholding humanitarian and international laws.
We, of course, in Malaysia condemn Israel's continued destruction of Gaza, atrocities that will only remind us of Hiroshima and Nagasaki. Collectively, we must support efforts towards a peaceful and durable solution to the Palestinian-Israeli conflict.
Anwar said this in his remarks during the first session of the ASEAN-Japan Summit themed Review of ASEAN-Japan Relations on Sunday. The summit was chaired by Indonesian President Joko Widodo, who opened the meeting alongside host Japan's Prime Minister Fumio Kishida. Several ASEAN leaders, including Thai Prime Minister Srettha Thavisin and Vietnamese Prime Minister Pham Minh Chinh in their addresses, also voiced their concern over Gaza and the need for an immediate ceasefire. Meanwhile, amid the ongoing global polycrisis, Anwar emphasized the need for cooperation and collaboration between ASEAN member states and Japan to tackle pressing issues ranging from regional security to public health and disaster management. The Prime Minister also touched on nuclear weapons that Malaysia views as detrimental to mankind. Regarding the issue of overlapping claims by several countries in South China Sea, Anwar stressed that it needs to go through international law.
Recognizing the sensitivity and complexity of the South China Sea issue, Malaysia is firmly committed to the peaceful resolution of disputes in accordance with the universally recognized principles of international law, including the 1982 UNCLOS.
Recognizing Japan's expertise in cyberspace, Malaysia also called for further ASEAN-Japan collaboration to elevate cybersecurity standards in Southeast Asia by sharing best practices. Anwar pointed out that with the expansion of the digital landscape, cyber threats, including those related to terrorism, trafficking in persons, and various cyber and transnational crimes, are increasing exponentially. The ASEAN-Japan summit will continue until Monday, where it will meet to discuss the Asia Zero Emission Community Initiative in addressing climate change before drawing to a close. The Zionist regime stepped up its bombardment of Gaza overnight and into Sunday, killing at least 40 people as the death toll rises to more than 19,000. The attacks took place amid fierce fighting and the length of the coastal enclave, with communications down for a fourth day, making it hard to reach the wounded. The Palestinian Red Crescent said the communication blackout in Gaza is the longest since the rampage, adding that its teams were also hampered by shelling. In the meantime, the Zionist regime attacks killed at least 24 people and wounded dozens of others in the Jabalia refugee camp in northern Gaza, while 5 Palestinians were killed in an attack on Tulkram in the occupied West Bank. In Deir al-Balah, central Gaza, 12 Palestinians had been killed and dozens were wounded, while in Rafah in the south, an Israeli airstrike left at least 4 people dead. To date, at least 19,084 people have been killed and more than 50,000 have been injured in Gaza since the Zionist rampage. An on-demand van service to address first and last mile connectivity issues will be introduced in areas without access to public transportation. Transport Minister Anthony Loke said a 50 million ringgit allocation under next year's budget will be used to purchase the vans and to provide the service. He said the vans will be strategically placed based on the demand in various areas and not in one specific location. Elaborating on the enforcement of bus lanes, he said the ministry will hold discussions to amend the Road Transport Act to effectively empower authorities in the matter. He added that the possibility of collaboration with private companies and the use of advanced technology such as vehicle recognition through license plates were amongst things on the cards. Loke said this after opening the DAP annual convention at the party's headquarters in Kuala Lumpur on Sunday. In Terengganu, 4 men were sentenced to 16 years jail each by the Kuala Terengganu Sessions Court on Sunday after they were found guilty for gang raping a 12-year-old girl 3 years ago. Judge Nuriah Osman handed down the sentence to all the accused after the defence failed to raise any reasonable doubt against the prosecution's case. The 4 men, Farizal Fauzi, Tuan Shafiq Tuan Ismail, Gaddafi Abdullah and Ahmad Shah Herfuddin Omar, aged between 20 and 26, were jointly charged with raping the girl at an oil palm plantation in Ketengah Jaya, Dungun between 9 p.m. and 11 p.m. on September the 29th, 2020. The charge under the Penal Code provides between 10 to 30 years imprisonment if found guilty. The court ordered the sentence against 3 of the men to begin from the date of sentencing, while Ahmad Shah Herfuddin will serve his sentence from the date of his arrest on October the 11th, 2020. The investigation into the murder of autistic child Zain Rayyan Abdul Matin has shifted to the vacant units in Block R of Idaman Apartments in Damansara Damai Petaling Jaya to uncover new leads. About 20 members of the police forensic unit on Sunday were seen arriving at Block R and began entering the vacant units at 3 p.m. before leaving the building 2 hours later. It was understood that there are over 40 unoccupied units in Block R, and the police were reported to have intensified efforts to search for evidence on the 3rd and 4th floors of the blocks as early as 9 a.m. before taking a break at noon. However, the findings on day 11 of the probe were not revealed to the media. So far, the police have gathered statements from 172 individuals, including the victims' parents, witnesses, neighbours and residents within the vicinity. Zain Rayan was first reported missing at 12:30 p.m. on December the 5th. His body was then discovered near a stream about 200 metres from his home in Idaman apartment at around 10 p.m. the following day. The 6-year-old boy's death has been classified as a murder case, as a post-mortem uncovered injuries to the child's neck and body. The investigation is being conducted under Section 302 of the Penal Code. Rohingya refugees in Malaysia are facing a dire crossroad, struggling for rights and legal recognition as they seek a stable future. Their challenges highlight the pressing need for global attention and a comprehensive resolution to address the complexities of the humanitarian crisis. Our reporter, Alif Yunus, has the report.
The Rohingya refugee crisis has been a long-standing issue in this region, with Malaysia being one of the countries that has received a significant number of displaced Rohingyas. As of November this year, there are some 185,000 refugees and asylum seekers registered with the United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees, UNHCR, in Malaysia. Despite this, Rohingya refugees are considered as undocumented migrants in the country, which leaves them vulnerable and continues to be marginalized.
The Rohingya refugees in Malaysia are grappling with a pressing dilemma. The absence of legal documentation restricts their freedom of movement, leading to challenges in employability and denying them a source of livelihood, while also hindering proper education for Rohingya refugee children.
Expressing concern, Paul Brockman, the regional manager of Doctors Without Borders, also known by its French initials MSF, highlights the deepening crisis faced by Rohingya refugees.
The challenge for them, the reason this is just a worsening, deepening crisis, use your terminology, is that there's no sense of either a long-term solution or anyone contributing to intermediate solutions to provide better healthcare, better futures now, and better reality in today. I think also it's important, and this is a little bit beyond our remit as a humanitarian medical organization where we really face patient populations and communities that need, but then we also do turn around and face governments, international organizations, and say, who can step up and do more? No one's really paying attention. Again, people have forgotten that this is a country with ongoing conflict that needs both a regional and international attention to stabilize.
However, Malaysia International Humanitarian Organization, MHO President Datuk Hishamuddin Hashim, questioned the granting of privileges to the group beyond their designated refugee status due to potential exploitation.
So this is the issue that make whether the refugee status whether the refugee status right now have been changed to have more privilege than a refugee, more than humanity, more than whatever that other even local people have. This make some group of Malaysian community feel not happy and they feel something wrong with the system of refugee today, and we need to do something in order to change before the thing get worse and worse.
Moreover, he stressed the necessity for a definitive resolution, pointing towards Myanmar's responsibility in the repatriation and conflict resolution to address the Rohingya refugee crisis effectively.
They cannot be refugee forever. This Myanmar country is there. When you want to stop the conflict in Myanmar and push the Myanmar authorities, Myanmar government, to bring them back to Myanmar, instead of pressuring Malaysia.
The Rohingya refugee issue in Malaysia stands as a testament to the global responsibility to ensure not just temporary shelter for the displaced Muslim ethnic minority group, but also to address the root causes, advocating their rights and empowerment, as well as finding a sustainable solutions to the humanitarian crisis. Alif Yunus, Nightline, TV3.
We're going for a short break. When we return, thousands urge to head to higher ground as Australia battles floods. Stay tuned.
Jangan pandang ringan dan mudah. Anggap batuk awak ini serius. Woods ubat batuk dengan rasa pudina. Memberi sensasi kelegaan di kerongkong. Berkesan melegakan batuk. Woods ubat batuk yang saya percaya.
Masuk pintu gera tu dah down habis. Dah sampai tengah nampak sekolah. Tak expect benda tu. Jadi ada peluang lagi lah maksudnya.
Sebelum masuk, pandangannya sangat berbeza. Kejut. Rupa-rupanya budak yang kita anggap tidak berdisiplin tu sangat behave di sini.
Kalau kita pakai candik arus ni, kita pergi memburu ikan. Bukan kita tunggu. Keseronokan candik ni apabila ikan masuk di dalam candik. Lepas tu bila kita angkat candik tu, tengok ikan besar-besar tu. Seronok sangat.
Stream sekarang melalui Tonton.
Ada drama barulah kat Facebook. Nak download lah tu. Ingat jangan download ataupun share laman web Cetak Rompak. Jangan.
Malam masih muda guys. 20 Disember ini jom kita healing dengan Sizer. Flow 88. Dan Dayang Nur Faiza. Kat mana? Mestilah di parti Juwaulan akhir tahun wow dah gaji. Nantikan 20 Disember secara langsung jam 9 malam hanya di TV3.
Welcome back. At least 61 refugees and asylum seekers, including women and children, have drowned following a tragic shipwreck off Libya. Citing survivors, the International Organization for Migration, IOM's Libya office, said the vessel left the city of Zuwara with around 86 people on board. It added that the larger number of migrants were believed to have died because of the high waves that swarmed their vessel. In the meantime, 25 survivors had been transferred to a Libyan detention center and were being given medical support. The IOM estimates that more than 2,200 people have drowned while attempting the crossing this year alone, making it one of the most dangerous migration routes in the world. Australian authorities on Sunday urged thousands of people in the state of North Queensland to move to higher ground due to the dangers of flooding from torrential rain. Now, according to the Queensland authorities, major flooding was underway in some suburbs of Cairns due to the approaching high tide and continued rainfall. The Cairns Local Disaster Management Group, meanwhile, said homes, buildings and roads had been inundated, adding that power, water, sewerage and telephone services could be lost in the area. The flooding came with heavy rain from ex-tropical cyclone Jasper that hit the region this week, leaving tens of thousands without power and forcing evacuations. A storm that has already killed at least 13 people in Argentina was making its way through Buenos Aires on Sunday morning, drenching the city and bringing heavy winds that led to reports of power outages and damage across the capital. The nation's meteorological service warned residents of Buenos Aires that the storm placed the capital under the second highest orange alert. The storm that had earlier hit Bahia Blanca on Saturday with gusts of winds of up to 140 kilometers per hour, blowing roofs off buildings and killing at least 13. The country's president, Javier Milei, and the mayor of Bahia Blanca have also confirmed the deaths. Kuching City ease past Negeri Sembilan FC. Sports after this breather.
Tak puas Bosan ke asyik pakai tudung yang sama je sis? Masa ni lah nak beli koleksi tudung label baru. Kolaborasi pertama TV3 dengan Fazura. Memang cengini ha. Dapatkan semua 10 corak yang cantik lagi memukau di fazura.com sekarang sis. Dari jauh orang dah tanya, awak ni Fazura ke? Gitu. Dan katanya Fazura nak kembali berlakon di kaca TV. Tak sabarnya. Lebih fabulous bersama tudung Fazura dan hanya di TV3.
20 Disember ini, jom kita sambut parti jualan akhir tahun di Wow Dah Gaji.
Hanya untuk 1 hari, potongan harga tak henti-henti.
Mana dah dapat hadiah ekstra macam ni kalau bukan di Wow Dah Gaji?
Sambil shopping tu, boleh berhibur sekali. Barulah tak rugi. Memang paling wow lah.
Nantikan 20 Disember ini secara langsung pukul 9 malam hanya di TV3.
Wow Dah Gaji. Belanja crazy, gaji ada lagi. Open the door.
Aktiviti rumah urut dicurigai.
Siapa tadi? Masuklah untuk yang overnight out call semua tu, yang tu ada.
Tempahan dalam talian, taktik elak dikesan.
Gambar-gambar ni kan, single order. Inilah katalog-katalog yang dia boleh pilih lah. Dia link so WeChat, biasanya dia akan order rombong.
Saksikan 999 Selasa jam 9 malam di TV3 dan stream secara HD ditonton.
Cuti sekolah kembali. Jom kita main tanah liat.
Dan masa yang paling sesuai, kita ketahui cara-cara untuk menjaga anak-anak kita untuk proses berkhatan.
Cuti juga, jalan-jalan, tapi privasi jangan dilupakan.
Pasang CCTV dan dashcam di kereta anda untuk membantu siasatan jenayah.
Soal wang, ini tentang chatty moden ataupun tawaran angsuran bulanan yang menjadi perangkap kalau kita tak mengetahuinya.
Isnin hingga Jumaat, 9.30 pagi, hanya di TV3.
Jika stream HD secara langsung di aplikasi Tonton.
On to sports, football, the 2023 Super League. 4 matches took place on Sunday night. Selangor FC recorded a 3-1 win against PDRM FC, while Sabah FC claimed a 2-0 win over Kedah Darul Aman FC. Perak FC suffered another defeat, this time 3-0 to Terengganu FC. At the Tuanku Abdul Rahman Stadium, visitors Kuching City FC cruised to a 4-1 victory over Negeri Sembilan FC. The hosts took the lead 4 minutes into the game through Sharil Fikri before Brazilian Bruno Dibal levelled a score for Kuching in the 44th minute. Yuki Tanigawa extended the lead for the Cats 3 minutes later before Pedro Enrique added the third 5 minutes before the hour mark. Bruno Dibal then scored his second goal in the 73rd minute, sealing a convincing 4-1 win for Kuching. Still on football, the German Bundesliga. Substitute Emil Forsberg scored a goal and made an assist to help RB Leipzig beat Hoffenheim 3-1 on his last home game for the club. Take a look. Lucas Klostermann scored the opener for the hosts 34 minutes into the game with a close-range shot. Leipzig appeared destined for a half-time lead until Hoffenheim's Ozan Kabak rose to head in a superb free-kick delivery from Robert Skoff to level. Forsberg, however, managed to restore the lead for Leipzig 4 minutes after coming onto the pitch. The Swedish veteran then hit the crossbar from a corner before Mohamed Simakan turned the ball over the line to complete the victory for the hosts. With the win, Leipzig are in third place, 32 points, while Hoffenheim in sixth with 23 points. After this breather, missing ex-commando found dead in palm oil estate.
Masuk pintu penjara tu dah down habis. Dah sampai tengah nampak sekolah. Tak expect benda tu. Jadi ada peluang lagi lah maksudnya.
Sebelum masuk, pandangannya sangat berbeza. Kejut. Rupa-rupanya budak yang kita anggap tidak berdisiplin tu sangat behave di sini.
Kalau kita pakai candik arus ni, kita pergi memburu ikan. Bukan kita tunggu. Keseronokan candik ni apabila ikan masuk di dalam candik. Lepas tu bila kita angkat candik tu, tengok ikan besar-besar tu. Seronok sangat.
Stream sekarang melalui Tonton.
Cuti sekolah kembali. Jom kita main tanah liat.
Dan masa yang paling sesuai, kita ketahui cara-cara untuk menjaga anak-anak kita untuk proses berkhatan.
Cuti juga jalan-jalan, tapi privasi jangan dilupakan.
Pasang CCTV dan dashcam di kereta anda untuk membantu siasatan jenayah.
Soal wang, ini tentang chatty modern ataupun tawaran angsuran bulanan yang menjadi perangkap kalau kita tak mengetahuinya.
Isnin hingga Jumaat, 9.30 pagi, hanya di TV3.
Jika stream HD secara langsung di aplikasi Tonton.
Open the door.
Aktiviti rumah urut dicurigai.
Siapa tadi? Masuklah untuk yang overnight outcall semua tu, yang tu ada.
Tempahan dalam talian, taktik elak dikesan.
Gambar-gambar ni kan, dia order. Dia lah katalog yang dia boleh pilih lah. Dia link so WeChat, biasanya dia akan order ke nombor.
Saksikan 999 Selasa jam 9 malam di TV3 dan stream secara HD di Tonton.
Welcome back. A former commando of the Special Forces Group who was reported missing since Thursday, Abdul Manan Keri, was found dead in a palm oil estate in Kampung Palembang in Kluang at about 5 p.m. on Sunday. Kluang District Police Chief Assistant Commissioner Bahrain Muhammad Noor said the body of the 73-year-old man was found by a cow herder who was tending to his cattle in the area. The remains were found within the search radius of about 500 meters from Sungai Melantai, which is also linked to Sungai Mengkibul. Confirmation also came from the victim's son, who had also gone to the location where his father's body was discovered as soon as he was informed. The body was then transferred to Hospital Encik Besar Haja Kalsum, Kluang for post-mortem. The victim was reported missing by his family after attending the Jamuan Teh Bersama Rakyat tea reception held at Dataran Tasik. Over in Pahang, a 14-year-old boy who went missing while bathing in a canal in Indra Sempurna in Kuantan on Friday was found drowned on Sunday morning. A spokesperson from the State Fire and Rescue Department said the body of Muhammad Amirul Haikal Ceh Jaapa was discovered at 10:22 a.m. by the Water Rescue Team, PPDA. Now, the victim's body was found about 1.6 kilometers from where he was reported to have gone missing. Muhammad Amirul Haikal, who was a student at Sekolah Menengah Kebangsaan Mat Kilau, was reported missing while bathing with 6 friends at 3:50 p.m. last Friday. The search operation involved a 3-kilometer stretch along Sungai Air Hitam until Sungai Belat and the Sungai Kuantan River Basin. The body was handed over to the police before being taken to Kuantan Hospital for post-mortem. Sleeping cats have emerged in the rice paddies in northern Thailand in recent weeks, spread out over an area a little less than a hectare in size. The 3 felines belong to Tanyapong Kai Kam, a full-time factory worker and now a part-time farmer who is tackling a pet project that turns rice paddies into art. Nightline draws to a close. With that, I'm Adrian Seat. Thank you for watching and stay safe, Malaysia.